Hi folks, welcome to today's class. Apologies for the slight delay in getting here. I just had a very little issue with the internet. Hopefully we'll be all okay now. If you can't see the live chat on your screen, please just refresh. It should just turn up as soon as you refresh your page. I'll give you just a moment to do that now. I know some of you are on it, I can see, which is fantastic. Good, okay. Looking good. So, welcome to day 5 of your hour challenge. And good on you for sticking it out. I know that for some of you, obviously the time of day that this is being streamed live isn't convenient, but you're able to catch up, and that's a really, really important aspect that I wanted to be able to offer you. So please make sure you do catch up in your own time. Even if you're sort of a day late, that's absolutely fine. Just take each class day by day in the order that they come, then it will all make sense to you. So how this works. Now, I teach you live, offer you an hour's class every day, Monday to Friday, and then it's self-guided practice at the weekends for you to create your own practice time on Saturday and on Sunday. I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end of class today, because there may well be some questions that you'd like to ask me directly through the chat. So I'm going to leave that to the end of class today, the end of the session. The feedback on the movements, and already some of you are becoming aware of how you're holding up maybe one shoulder, or just when you're sitting down on the sofa, and how perhaps that your balance you've been able to just tweak your balance a little so it takes the pressure away from different places in your body. All of these things are learnt through the skills of Qigong, and it's through that regular practice that you start to learn more about yourself. So please just continue to practice this, and you will just develop so many more life skills through the practice of Qigong that you can transfer into living your everyday life. You can start to notice and enjoy it that bit more. So what have we learned this week? Quite a bit, actually. When I was making my list that I'm going to put it up on Slack a bit later on for you, just to, as an overview of the week, a fast facts list. Yeah, I've offered you quite a bit, but it's really essential to learn these basics, these principles, these foundations that make the practice. It's all well and good just saying, here you go, here's a bunch of movements, do them. Well, why am I doing them? What am I doing? How are they working? Is what I want to be able to inform you with, to empower you. So we learn how to stand. We're learning how to stand. And I have been doing this quite a few years now, 25, maybe a bit more. And every single time I come to do my stand, every time, without fail, I never take it for granted. I never take it, well, I've done this so many times before, thousands of times before, that I know what I'm doing. No. Every single time I come to my stand, I come to my full practice, I come at it with new eyes, as a beginner, with a beginner's mind, because it allows me to see fresh. It allows me to not go into an autopilot and then get drawn into those habit energies that I may have created without even realizing it. So whenever you come to your practice, Always set yourself up as if it's the first time that you've done it. Of course it isn't, and your body and your muscle memory will all click into place, and that's perfect. But come at it with the eyes of a beginner. The Wu Chi, the stand. Wu Chi means limitless, boundless, endless. And it's there not only as a standing posture to be able to allow your inner ocean to flow freely, but it's also there as a state of being, to connect with the bigger picture, to connect with Earth, to the heavens, and you in the middle. And once we have found this marriage, this comfortable place to be, then we can start to breathe. And we breathe ideally in and out through the nose, and we belly breathe. Belly expands as we inhale and relaxes back to its original position as we exhale. Remember that breathing through the nose is the ideal, but if you find it tricky, then please just use your mouth. You can breathe in through your mouth, out through your nose. Just make sure that your exhale is complete before you take your inhale. 70%, don't try too hard. Don't try too hard. It's not no pain, no gain. It's no pain, more gain. So always work to whatever your 70% is at that practice point, at that time you're practicing. So not even now as you're sitting listening to me, but in a few minutes when we get up to do some practice, that's when you focus on your 70%. That's when you check in to see what it is that you can and what you're comfortable to do. Yi Dao, Qi Dao, where your mind goes, your Qi, your energy follows, your life force follows. So you're constantly noticing if and when your mind wanders, and it will. It does with everybody, but part of the learning, part of the training, part of the practice is to recognize when it goes, just to gently, kindly, compassionately bring yourself back. Don't be frustrated, and just sink your mind back into your body. Sink your mind where you want to be connecting with, what parts of the movement, what parts of my body am I moving, am I engaging with? Puppet arms, as we've done this week, moving through the thick air. That's what we're connecting with. And later on, the Yi Dao, Qi Dao, and when I mean later on in this course, the Yi Dao, Qi Dao will become even more important as to the leading and guiding Qi. That's another thing, but we are going to get there eventually. So the three external treasures that I've mentioned, heaven, you and earth, also relate to your three energies. Your lower Dantian where your Jing resides, your middle Dantian where your Qi resides, your upper Dantian where your Shen resides. Your Jing being your essence, your creative essence, your life force, your spirit. The wax and the wick of the candle, the physical body that we need in order for the flame to burn brightly, to be able to move freely, to be able to offer heat, to be able to offer light. And once these two aspects are strong, then we can radiate, then we can live life joyfully, happily, with a strong Shen, a strong spirit. We always need to work on replenishing the wax and the wick of the candle in order for the candle to burn brightly, for the flame to exist strong, and for the Shen to radiate. Our inner ocean is the word that we describe, or the term that we use to describe our bodily fluids, our blood, our Qi, everything that moves within us is our inner ocean. Habit energies. Notice those habit energies, those thoughts that come into our mind that tell us that We should be doing something else, not just standing still and not just doing this lovely bunch of movements. We should be working, we should be washing up, we should be doing something active, we should be at the gym, we should be... This is all, Qigong is just as important as drinking, as eating, as taking your shower, as going out for a walk. You are not wasting time doing your Qigong. You do not need to keep on running. You are allowed yourself, give yourself permission to slow down, to stop. You must give yourself permission to do that. We have felt the Qi. We move with our breathing. It's the rhythm of our breath that moves our body through our form. And we have learnt a couple of different warm-ups. We've done the shake, we've got slosh together. Today I'm going to offer you and share with you a new warm-up that we do. And we've also explored and started the first two movements, compressing the pearl and flying hands. Now remember, in all of this, don't try and be too good at it. I know that I'm giving you lots of information, but because there are quite a few of you on this course, some of you will take parts of that information and it will really resonate with you, and some others will take certain other parts of that information and it will resonate with them. If you don't get it all, that's fine. You can always come back and repeat and print off those notes that I'm putting up on Slack and just remind yourself of this. And of course, after this program, you're going to have the opportunity to continue your Qigong with me if you wish to. But don't try and be too good. Don't lose that perfectionist. If you're a bit of a perfectionist and you want to get everything spot on, try and let go of that and just enjoy what you know when you do it. And then we add all of these things as layers. Layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And eventually you end up with a big old cake. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's a wonderful, wonderful layered experience that you eventually get. So, as I said, I'm going to talk about how to set up your weekend practice with you later on in the live chat and part of this class. So for now, let's get up and let's get some moving going on. I've just seen a note saying from Audrey, the sun is shining here. Send it over this way a little bit. We've got some blue sky, Audrey, but it's not quite shining through yet, so I know you're not too far away from me, so send it over, please, to hear. So if you are having sort of troubles with your internet, like I said, just refresh. Sometimes it is a little blippy. I think we just have to appreciate that the times that we live in at the moment, and perhaps, I'm not quite sure how it works, perhaps there's a little bit of pressure put on the internet, the broadband that we're all using, not just us, but everybody. So what I'd like to do today, as the foundation of all of our practice comes from the Wu Qi, and we've discussed it in quite some depth this week, I am going to offer you a couple of more techniques to really become at one with the Wu Qi posture. And these are, again, all techniques that I've offered over the years, but they're ones in particular that students have come back to me with and said, I really liked that. That really worked for me when you said that to me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, whatever it was. So having asked all my students to feedback and to input so that I can deliver what's worked for them to you, then as I mentioned from day one, then I hope that that's going to resonate with you, because it's not necessarily how I always think you might learn. I try and give you all different angles to come into this. Okay, so before you get yourself set up, I would just like you to make sure that if you can put your arms out all around you, make sure you're not going to, if you are going to hit anything, so a wall, a chair, or take off the top of your plant or your iPad. I will probably do if I don't move that. Okay, so feet hip width apart, parallel ideally. Settle in. Okay. So this next warm-up is part of 3, and it's called Swai Sho. Swai Sho means the 3 swings. And essentially what we do is we gently, very gently swing the body. Now, if you're sitting down, you can do this. You might not be able to rotate round too far, but we shouldn't do anyway, so the back of the chair will help keep you within your comfort zone. So with the arms just hanging down next to you, connect with the 3 treasures, heaven, you and earth. Good. And now from your lower dantian, this is the area, your lower dantian, the energetic center deep inside of your belly, moves you. That's the engine of the movement. And I'd like you just to turn from left to right. Not fully, as you can see here. I could turn all the way around. If I do that, I've gone way past my 70% and I'm going to be straining different parts of my body. So I want to keep this, work to fully 50% now. Nice and easy. And your movement comes from here. Now, as you move, and it's just a bit like, you're just finding this rhythm, just spiraling round. Pretend that there's a pole going through you and you're just rotating around the pole. Okay, so the first things we need to keep an eye on are the knees. Make sure the knees aren't buckling inwards and they're not doing this. Your knees should be pointing in line with your toes, and as you turn, your knees should go forward and backwards. Your legs should go forward and backwards in line with your feet. So keep the space here between your thighs. You might feel that sinking down just another centimetre or 2 might help. Good. Okay, so you can see my arms. I've just let go with the swing. And one arm comes around in front as the other arm just loosely comes around the back. I'm going to turn, you don't have to. And my arms, my forearms are connecting with my body, with my back and my belly. Little gentle tap. Okay, so bring your awareness to the soles of your feet. Feel your feet just gently screwing into the ground, connecting to the ground a little more each time you swing. So if you swing left, you feel your feet almost embedding into the ground, and right, they embed into the ground. Feel the gentle spiral come up through your body, your lower legs, thighs, in and around your pelvis and hips, midriff, up through your spine. Good. And now as you swing left, look left. Swing right, look right. Keep your eyes open. Go nice and slow. If you can just get the rhythm of the movement, the momentum of the movement to move you, then it becomes effortless. three treasures connected, heaven and earth. So welcome to swing one. A gentle spiraling movement that unwinds, untangles, and wrings out all the old in the body, allowing space for your inner ocean to go into and nurture and nourish. Okay, and that is something that I'm going to go into more detail about how this works, but that's going to be happening again later on in the course. Good. And just slow this down, not abruptly, slow it down right back to the center. Good, well done. So, swing one. If you need to shake out, shake your legs out. Remember, don't wait for me to say, listen to your body. So let's stand in Wuchi. So yesterday I offered you some different ways in which you can visualize, different metaphors, analogies, imagery that you can apply to your standing in sand, buoys for thighs, and we balanced very subtly the weight from left to right, from front to back, and found that neutral zone in the middle. So to just carry on from that weight shifting, that balancing, is to, for some, is to imagine a spirit level. You know, you get the bubble of a spirit level when you're trying to balance something out. You want to get the bubble in the middle so you know it's straight. Imagine deep into your belly, it's a spirit level, and there's a bubble in there. And center that bubble. So I'm going to give you just a few moments now to settle into your Wu Chi and to center your bubble. Good. We just try as effortlessly as we can to keep it centered. But we're human beings. We are going to shift a bit. We are going to go back into old patterns of the body. So you can just bring your awareness down deep, center your bubble, your spirit level bubble. Good. So I hope that may well help a few of you. Now, one of my personal favourites is that I've mentioned our inner ocean. We've also spoken the outer ocean, where we move our hands through the thick air as if we're swimming through it. Just go back to the inner ocean for a moment. And with a little bit of subtle adjustment, allow your bones, your skeleton, to float within your inner ocean. So rather than having compression, rather than having everything squashing down into our lower back, into our knees, into our ankles, like a house, everything, all the weight goes down through the walls into the foundations of the house. Yes, we want the foundations, we want that Pyramid of Giza. However, as human beings, we are not built to be all compressed like this. We need to allow flow. So allow your bone to float within your inner ocean. Again, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to play with that idea, that imagery. Good, and this gives us a sense of being lighter. It gives the sense of creating space. And when we create space, we create possibility. So floating bones within your inner ocean, your ocean body. Breathe. Breathe in through your nose, down deep into your belly. Let your belly gently expand as you breathe in. Relax as you breathe out through your nose. Use your mouth if you need to. Good. Right, that's a few minutes of standing. And I appreciate for many of you that's quite a long time. So just shake out. Just shake out. Notice how you feel after those few minutes of standing and breathing. Just pay attention to those feelings. It's really important that we notice what's happening within us. So your floating bones within your inner ocean gives us that spacious feeling inside and releases the compression, the pressure put on our joints. And for those of you who have done any anatomy work, or perhaps not even that, and just seen a classroom skeleton, or even a skeleton on the TV or on the internet, you will notice that none of the bones of the skeleton are actually connected. There's always space in between. And we can try and recreate that rather than this heavy thud, this compression. Keep it nice and floaty. So floaty. For so many, we get headaches. And that comes from, especially at the moment, we're using computers so much, and perhaps even the mobile phones a lot more. The physical posture that we take, because we don't notice what we're doing until now, creates pain in the head and the neck, sometimes even into the jaw. This can create headaches as well, but also neck aches. We get such stiff necks, and then because we're all connected, that refers down to the spine, and you get the picture. So now, let's stand back into Uchi. Spirit level bubble. Sink your legs if you need to in the sand. Connect your three treasures. Floating bone. Imagine your head like a helium balloon that just gently lifts. Just one single balloon that just, all it wants to do is just lift. Just bring your chin in very, very slightly. But in order for the helium balloon to not fly off up into the skies, it's connected to a piece of string, and that string is your spine. But still, it could fly off with a piece of string, so we need to tether it to the ground, and we do that. We tether it to your tailbone, your pelvis. So as we stand there with floating bones, we now have a floating helium balloon, which is the head, attached to a piece of string which is constantly lengthened, not stretched but lengthened, because the helium balloon just wants to go up. String is your spine, tethered to your tailbone and pelvis. Float. Create space. Wonderful. Good. So the more often we practice this, the more imagery that works for us. You might not want to use it all. There might be certain things that really sort of tune in. Use whatever works for you. That's what I'm here for, to try and offer you as much as I can so that it works for you. It's one of those things, I can honestly say, hand on heart, that when you get to Wu Chi, sometimes you just don't want to come out of it. It's just that place of just, it's just bliss. There's just the moments of bliss. So I'm not going to take myself back in there. There'll be no class left to do. So now our movements. Compressing the palm. Settle back in. The foundation. This is where we start. Let your hands float out. Discover, feel your chi between your palms. Don't try too hard. Space in the armpits. Allow it to flow. Your inner ocean needs to flow. So don't close the armpits. Good. So now breathe in. Start your movement. Breathe out. Close the movement. Puppetry. Swimming through thick air. Good. So we'll just layer and sink your mind into your body, Yi Dao, Qi Dao. Breathe, flow, time we breathe out and the hands come in, we're going to turn the palms, face the thighs to go into the second movement, flying hands. Bend elbows, keep your shoulders nice and relaxed, let the hands float up, ideally up to the shoulder nest, let them fly away. Palms face the body, ideally, soft wrists, fly away. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Just let your arms rest either side of you. Just be for a moment. Ruchi, floating bones, helium balloon. Well done, very well done. Have a light shake out. So I'd like to add the third movement. The third movement is called the peacock fans its tail. And it's nice and simple, very similar to movement 1, but with differences. So I would just invite you to watch me first before you do it, and we'll do it all together. So I'm going to show you, this is movement 1, compressing the palm. Then movement 2, flying hands. And then movement 3. So as to be able to transition from movement 2 to 3, as my hands fly away from movement 2, my fingers, rather than my palms facing my thighs and my fingers pointing over my toes, my fingers now point down in between my feet. So from here to here, that's the slight difference it makes. And then I'm going to draw 2 arcs with my hand, and it's again not from my shoulders. I'm going to use the back of my wrist like a puppet to draw 2 arcs. And I open up the arc until I feel a connection, a physical connection across my chest. Now that isn't by pushing my arms past the line of my body. My arms never go past the line of my body. So I draw 2 arcs, puppet wrists, nice and soft. And then you'll see that my puppet wrists are still bent here. And then once I've created this connection, then I just lengthen out through my hands. And then using the inside of my wrists, I retrace my steps, the arcs, right back down to where I started. So it's like a peacock, just opening up its tail, presenting its splendor, having a little show off, and then it closes it again. It opens, I make the connection, and I let go. So there's just this line of connection across your rib cage, from arm to arm, from hand to hand, without stretching, without lifting or moving your shoulders, just nice and relaxed. So let's do this together. We're going to just start off from the position and then we'll add the transition in. So your fingers are pointing, your palms are facing your pubic area, or maybe a little lower. Your fingers are pointing down in between your feet. Connect your three treasures. There's a tendency to want to look down what you're doing. Trust in what you're doing. So your helium balloon head is just still lifted. Now we're going to draw two arcs nice and slowly. Soft wrists. Just let the wrists move the arms, not your shoulders. Open out. Then open up your hands. Feel the connection. Don't hold it. Now using, and it's really subtly using the inside of your wrist to come back down. Back of the wrist to open up. Inside of the wrist to close the movement. Make that connection across your chest, through your arms, fingers. Release it. Making sure you're not moving your arms past the line of your body. So if you want to check, just have a look left and right as you do the movement. Just double check. If your shoulders do not allow you to get your hands, when you lift your arms, your hands should not be above shoulder height. They should be below shoulder height. But always remember to work to your 70%. I appreciate for some of us, we haven't got that range of movement in the shoulders. So if this is your movement here, perfect. That's your tailored movement. You just do whatever you can that resembles what I'm doing, but with your body. Good. And then we breathe in, and this opens up the peacock tail. Breathing out, close it. Time the movement to your breath. In, 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 out, 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 in. And out. Good. This is movement 3. Peacock fans its tail. Relax your hands. Have a little shake out. Well done. So what we're going to do now, just to finish off this session and this week's teachings, is just to put all 3 of those movements together. We're not going to do too many of them, just a few of each, just so that you can feel the transition and learn the transition from one to the other. Always start from your Uchi. Remember, every time you come to Uchi, reset yourself. Take that time. Hands float out, feel your chi, discover it. Good. Now with your breathing, compressing the palm. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now we're going to go into flying hands. Breathe out, turn palms, fingers point over toes. Bend elbows. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Next time we breathe out, and the hands fly away, fingers point down in between your feet. Movement 3, peacock fans its tail. Breathe in, create your arcs. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. In and out. Wonderful. Well done. Excellent job. Relax your hands. Good. Narrow stance. Shift weight. Move the bubble over the leg. Move the bubble over the other leg. Good. And close. Nice long extended inhale. Extended exhale. Storing, collecting down into your lower dantian. And clasp. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Now it's time to go and sort of complete this session and this week's teachings with our live chat. And I'm going to go through with you how to set up your own weekend self-guided practice. So this is where, when you don't have a class to go and plug into, as in a live class, it's very easy for life to just take over, and perhaps you won't practice, or perhaps it's trickier to practice when there isn't someone there leading the practice. The point of doing this challenge is for you to create your practice, and I'm here to guide you, to mentor you, to help you. But it's also important that you create this discipline yourself without somebody there doing it with you. So I've got a few pointers to help you this weekend. For a start, set a time. Set a time now, a deal with yourself that you're not going to break. So it could be 10 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday morning, if that fits. It might be 8 o'clock in the morning. It might be 8 o'clock in the evening. Whenever it fits you. But just be aware that the later you leave it, your practice in the day, the more chance you've got of not doing it, in the sense that we get tired and something else happens and then we don't have time, and then we end up pushing it further and further, and it comes to the point where actually we're so tired that it's just like, oh, do you know what, I won't worry about it today, I'll do it tomorrow. If we do that once, then that gives, we've just given ourselves permission to do that constantly. So set yourself a time when you're going to do this. On Saturday and Sunday, I would recommend the morning, but it's entirely up to you, and stick at it. Don't break that time. Don't break that promise that you've made yourself. Perhaps, why don't you tell each other through Slack what time you're going to be practicing on Saturday and Sunday, and once you practice, just put a little line up, a couple of words, a sentence to say how the practice was for you. That would really encourage each other, and that's almost you committing to that practice, because then you're not going to be letting yourself down. A space that you're going to do it, a sacred space. So a space where you're going to have room, a space where you're not going to necessarily, this is the ideal of course, but you're not going to have passers-by. A space away from your computer. If you're near your computer, please make sure that you've got your computer turned off so that you don't get a ping of an email, and the same goes for your mobile phone. Give yourself that sacred space that's just for you. And if you live with other people, just let them know. Just let them know that you're doing something that's really important to you, and you've made a commitment to yourself that you're going to be doing this, and you would just like to not be disturbed for that period of time. Let other people know in the house, and even if it's children in the house, just let them know that this is what mummy or daddy's doing, granny, granddad, auntie, uncle, whoever you may be to the children, and just let them know. And by all means, let them sit in the room with you. But what you might well find is actually they just watch you and they feel the calm just radiating, your Shen radiating from you when you practice. And this actually will most definitely help them see, visualize, watch, and absorb what's going on. 20 minutes. Don't have to do an hour, just do a 20-minute practice on Saturday and a 20-minute practice on Sunday. If you find that you go over those 20 minutes, that's perfect, that's fine, not a problem at all. Don't stop yourself. If you're enjoying it, you've got the time, you're not being disturbed. But only need to commit to doing a 20-minute practice on both days. Remember the candle, that your flame is always burning. And if you don't replenish, restore the wax and the wick, then your candle is just going to use up more of your essence, your jing. So then it's going to take longer to start to restore that again. So the cumulative effect of doing Qigong really does work. It just means that what you're doing is you're just creating this foundation of your candle that gets bigger, that gets stronger. So does the wick, and it just starts to, you just start to add to it and add to it and add to it and add to it. And that's our practice of Qigong before it goes down to barely nothing. Okay, so when we don't practice, our candle's still burning and it's still using that wax and that wick. So make sure you practice to keep it topped up, okay? And to help you, if you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's quite a lot to remember here, and maybe you're thinking, I don't know what to do. Well, don't overwhelm yourself. Just remember what you do remember, and that's perfect. What you're doing is just committing to some time for yourself to do a practice. You can always go back and rewatch one of this week's, or part of one of this week's classes. You can fast forward today's class to the last half an hour if you want to, or a perfect place for you, and just follow that again. Perfect. If you want to be able to challenge yourself and just to try and see what you do remember, help yourself by making a list that you can write on the wall. I don't mean with a permanent marker on your lovely paintwork, but on a piece of paper, or if you've got a whiteboard, because homes now work like I have. Behind the camera now, I've got a whiteboard there to remind me what I want to be able to say to you, because these are important things. There's a lot to remember. So just as there is a lot to remember for you. So make a list, pop it on the wall. I've got a wall here. You might be able to see it. Yeah, you can just see it in the camera. You can pop something on the wall there just as reminders. So when you're doing your Qigong, you think, oh, what comes next? Or what is it that I would like to do? There's something else. Look up. You can just have a scan. Oh, yeah, it was floating bones. That's right. Just give yourself these prompts. And this will help your practice along. So set yourself a time, commit to it, tell others what time you're going to do it, let everyone know how it was, your practice, and enjoy it. Above all, enjoy it. Okay, so has anyone got any questions for me? Audrey, comfortable clothing is an absolute must for you. Yeah, absolutely. This is what I wear for my own home practice. This is what I wear for my meditation. And I just think, do you know what? I just need to be comfortable. I don't like wearing clothes that just really restrict me. I just can't breathe. I spend all my time creating space internally, that as soon as I get tight clothes on, I feel like I'm restricting that space. So, so yes, this is my own home clothes that you see me in. So yeah, clothing is important. Tracksuit again. Okay, someone else did mention that as well. Sid, you mentioned about the clothing too. Heather, there is lovely music to play during practice. Heather, are you asking, is there lovely music to play during practice? Can you just sort of, not quite sure what you mean by that question. Just pop that down in the chat again if you wouldn't mind. Again, yeah, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Audrey's mentioned here about that she's surprised how good her legs and shoulders are. It doesn't take too much time to really feel stamina and strength build, but it's very quickly goes if you don't use it. Okay, so it's another reason why to continue your practice. And again, you're here to create a habit, so we don't want to break this habit. Wonderful. Okay, so Heather, wasn't sure about what music there is there. I haven't had another question for you, so I will answer it in both senses. If you're talking about the music that I play right at the beginning of class, what is that music? That music is from my teacher. He plays a Chinese Qin instrument, and he occasionally sends me and his students music that is healing energy music, so I share that with you too. There is plenty of Qin music on YouTube. If you want to go and have a look at it, it's spelled Qin. If you put Chinese Qin music in, there'll be probably a few billion that you can enjoy and watch. I think, Ivan, I've just answered that question as you were typing that. To play music during your practice, as a teacher, I wouldn't recommend it, because what we're looking for is to learn how to find our own stillness our own quietude, our own peace. And having music on might seem like it's helping us to tune into that music, but actually we're using the music to tune out into the music rather than tuning in. So remember, we are made up of these three energies. These energies are frequencies, they're vibrations, and we want to tune into those, not into the literal radio or music that's playing. Tune into yourself. So I wouldn't listen to music whilst practicing Qigong. So I think that's it. I think the questions have stopped coming in. I will put a fast facts up of everything that I've said today and this week's class, just in a very short bullet form, just to give you a reminder that you might be able to help you. But in the meantime, have a fabulous weekend. Use that Slack as and when you want to sort of support and help each other, and commit to a time, enjoy it, and I'll see you on Monday for day 8. Take good care. Bye-bye.